are listening to the War Rapport.
Wow.
It don't even feel like it's that close. We're that close to kickoff. But how are we feeling with this team? Noise has kind of died down a little bit with Auburn. I know we've been a lot of speculation in terms of who's going to win what positions in fall camp. How are we feeling less than 10 days away? I'll start with you, Ike.
Listen, I am not worried about this Mercer game, right? So the outcome of the game is not what I'm worried about. What I am anxious to see is what the offense is going to look like. This will be the first time in 3 seasons that someone not named Bo Nix will be the starting quarterback for Auburn University. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the what the offense is going to look like with somebody else at the helm, man. There's no way to predict this, right? Like, we can talk about potential and all this kind of stuff until you see it on the field. We don't know. So I'm just kind of waiting, man, to see what we're going to do. I think the guys are super juiced up on this team and they're ready to go out there. But hopefully they're going to play discipline, and we will see an absolute destruction of the Mercer Bears here in a couple of days.
Are they the Bears?
Huh.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know they were Bears.
Yeah, I didn't know they were Bears either.
Right.
But Mike,
hell with them Bears.
Mike, how you feeling, sir?
All right. So I tweeted out before the show today. There's no point in being upset about what we haven't seen yet. Zero. So I'd rather have a conversation about what actually happens on the field. All this talk about what people think is going to happen is for the birds, right? Or for the Bears or whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing the new and improved Auburn Tigers in year 2 of the Brian Harsin era. Now, they have some challenges that they had to overcome from camp. It's being pretty much widely reported now that Nick Brahms may not be good to go. He was in my top 5 offensive players. That's a huge hit. So I definitely don't want to see that happen, right? Like, I'm hoping maybe something will work out for that young man, not only for himself, but for the team. So my prayers are with Nick Brahms and whatever he's going through right now, medically and health-wise. Outside of that, now's when we start to pull for Auburn. Root for Auburn. That's where we're at. That's the zone we're in right now. Time to root for Auburn. All this talk about who the starting quarterback's going to be, it's going to be whoever they send out there at this point. Right. All the offseason debate over who that guy should be, it's winding down until we've seen something on the field. So whoever they send out there, I'm hoping maybe after game 1, we learn we got 2 guys that can get the job done.
Yep. I
don't understand why it has to be one or the other. Why can't TJ Finley go out there and be an improved version of himself and Robbie Ashford be the thing that gives us hope for the future, similar to what we thought we had in 2014 with Nick Marshall and Jeremy Johnson? I don't know why those things can't be true. So just because a guy didn't win the job,
things are always bad.
Yeah. So this is I like to growl at the end. So this is the time where we start to put off-season narratives to bed, and we need to start in-season narratives about what this team is going to be. And, the talk needs to be centered around what they do or don't accomplish on the field. I'm ready for it. I think you guys are ready for it in the comments. It's going to be exciting. I'm hoping that this staff delivers us something that we haven't had really in a while, and that's true hope. True hope that this thing is trending the right direction. That's what I hope for from game 1.
Yeah. And Mike and don't use
that word until next Wednesday.
All right.
Next Wednesday we'll start talking about what we think the defense is going to do. So
fine.
Yeah, I need to see a lineup. I need to see a lineup and a true depth chart before we start talking about the thing.
All right. That's how you want to play it today. All right.
I'm ready to scream it. I'm ready to scream it.
Okay.
You're ready for it. We're ready.
Well, Nick Brahms that's definitely unfortunate news, and I echo your sentiments, Mike G, concerning Nick. Is it Is it a little encouraging, though, B, that with Tate Johnson stepping in, we haven't seen a lot of shuffling at center? We've seen shuffling at the guard position, but Tate has been kind of holding on to that through scrimmages and practices pretty strong. So does that give us some? I mean, we know losing the experience that Nick Brahms was definitely going to bring in this season doesn't help. But is it encouraging to know that we've had a consistent guy at that position in Nick Brahms' absence?
Yes and no. It could be that he is the most fit for that role and nobody else is. So it could be this is what we got. And this is the best thing we've got. You got 2 offensive line guys because Will Friend's one. We've actually got an assistant offensive line coach. And then Coach Bedell, who coaches the tight ends, used to coach offensive line. So we've got roughly 3 offensive line coaches on the staff. And if between the 3 of them, they decide, yeah, you're going to be our center, it could be because he is showing all of the competencies that you want to see, or could be because nobody else is showing them. So whether it's the
I hope
or
it's
B,
not that second scenario.
yeah, but whether it is the first or the second, Tate Johnson is what we got. We heard some we were asked, or not we were asked, but the staff was asked about Tate Johnson, what he's been able to do so far in camp, and I think it was asked, I can't remember which player, but they said, well, I wasn't sure, looking at him when we first got here, if he was going to be able to hold up at this level. Like just the eye test, he didn't quite pass it. So for the last 2 seasons and off seasons, he's been getting his body up to speed. He's become the player that can hold up across the line in SEC play. And we will see. I hate for a make or break season like the one we're about to play in a lot of different ways to be the season where he gets tested as somebody who didn't quite look the part physically coming in. That's, this is not the circumstance, under which you want your guy to have to do this, but it makes me wonder. I know Brahms was out for the spring. Who got most of the reps in the spring?
Jaleel Irvin.
Okay, so it was Irving in the spring. So Tate Johnson hasn't even had the benefit of springtime and fall to work at center. This is kind of a new development here, then, right?
So I need to go back and look at A-Day and see if Johnson was the second string center then, though.
Okay.
But Irvin was who started A-Day at center.
Okay, so I mean they have some guys who have been working there. What I'm going to trust here with this staff is that you're going to win a
play
job.
some center too, not a lot, but
Okay.
And he has played it traditionally, but I don't think he's played it. He wasn't doing it during the spring here.
right.
Okay. So he played coming out of high school is what you're saying.
He played a little bit at, he transferred in. So he played a little bit at who was Akron, I think a little bit too.
Oh,
so.
Okay. So I'm hoping if he's at that position, especially if somebody else had been practicing in the spring of that position, at the very least, it makes the assumption the coaches think he can handle it just as well or better than Irving. And that's why he's got the job right now. So I'm going to put my faith in the coaches. Like Mike G said, we're here. It's time. Sweating and debating over whether or not somebody should have a role that they don't have. I'm not a football coach. I can't go down there and look at one guy and say, oh, man, you definitely should be. They all look like big dudes to me. I don't know anything until I see them playing on Saturday, and I can say, you got blown by. Maybe you're not the guy. Or, that throw was a mile off. Maybe you're not the guy. Other than that, what do I know about evaluation? I don't know anything until we see the results. There are people who are getting big paychecks to evaluate and see it beforehand and choose the right guy and put them on the field in position. I'm going to trust those guys and what they think is the best thing.